What serving means to me is helping out in any area, whether that be collecting trash or cleaning tables to leading a whole church full of adults or jumping on stage and dancing. To me, serving is just contributing in the smallest or largest way. My name's DeAndre Hafner. I go to Willow Canyon. I'm a sophomore, class of 2021. Coming to CCV, it's like, I love the energy it gives out. You can never have a regular Saturday night. It's always inspiring for me. What my weekend looks like is I get up, go to track practice or basketball practice, go home for a bit, then I come back and I serve a first service. And I do tech, and that pretty much is like the director of all the lights and the sound. And when I'm done, I go to the 4th through 6th grade room, and I coach kids through there, but I mainly coach 6th graders. I started serving when I was little, around 4th grade. My mama gave me a choice. It's either go double service or start volunteering. So she would have me sit in the corner while she was taking care of babies and tell me like, hey, go take out the trash, or hey, wipe down the toys. And one day, the janitor came by. He's like, hey man, help me clean up the trash, you know? So I was like, all right, no problem. And I don't know for what reason, but I found myself enjoying collecting trash. I felt like I was useful, like I was doing something good for a good cause. And then about a year and a half ago, I started becoming a 6th grader coach at CCV Kids. They're the reason I come to Saturdays sometimes, just because I want to see that one kid, or I want to see the whole group. It's just cool to see the impact that you have on other kids' lives, you know? Volunteering takes time. I had to sacrifice time for myself, or there'd be birthday parties or some kind of events I want to go to, but I can't because my name's on the schedule. I'm not here because of the commitment, I'm here because I want to be here, and there are other people that count on me too, but I'm needed, and people like need me to show up to do certain things, whether that's in volunteering or going to high school service myself. Something I learned while coaching is you always have eyes on you. Like, they look up to you no matter who you are because you have coach on the back of your shirt. There's always people looking at you or looking up to you. So you just gotta be the one to set the example, be the role model. Some advice I give to the people that are on the fence about volunteering is, I'd do it, man. It's impacted my life, it's impacted hundreds of other people. It's just a nice feeling to know that you're doing something right for the right reason, and that reason is to help show other people the love of Jesus.
Hey students, welcome. We are so excited that you're here with us for our high school experience. We're gonna have a great time. Our band is ready to lead us in worship, we're gonna hear a challenging message, and we're gonna get some time to connect in our groups. Which reminds me, if you are not currently connected to a group, we have one ready for you. Just text the word students to 72020, and there's a group that is waiting and ready to connect with you and get to know you and just give you some encouragement. If you're watching this live right now, I would love it if you would say what's up in the chat. We have a host who is just ready to answer any questions you might have, or pray for you, or just help you have a great experience. Students, I can't wait, so let's get this thing started, and let's join our experience right now.
Not children of slavery,
but of the one who set us free.
We're not defined by the sin we've caused,
but we are known by what he's done.
Oh, Father, you have saved us. God healing through Jesus. Come lead us by your Spirit to make you known, yeah. sleepless eyes to see you move.
Hear your son and daughter sing your song. There is power through the risen one. Yeah.
Our Father, you saved us.
Brought healing through Jesus.
Come lead us by your spirit.
To make you know, yeah.
Oh, Father, you have saved us.
Brought healing through Jesus.
Come lead us by your spirit. To make you know, yeah.
Make you know, yeah.
Yeah!
Oh my gosh, I want to barf everywhere.
You are all that matters, the one I want. Longing just to know you with all my heart. I threw my shame away, all of my sin erased. This isn't the end of the story. I'll trust in what you say, told me I'll be okay. It's turning around for your glory. I know when the fight comes, I'ma keep my head up. Hey, you won't let me down with me in the middle of my battle. Hey, you will never be the one to walk away. When the fight comes, I'ma keep my head up. Hey, you won't let me down with me in the middle of my battle. Hey, you will never be the one to walk away. Fight comes, I'ma keep my head up. Hey, you won't let me down with me in the middle of my battle. Hey, you will never be the one to walk away. When the fight comes, I'ma keep my head up. You won't let me down with me in the middle of my battle. Hey, you will never be the one to walk away. You will never be the one to walk away. You will never be the one to walk away.
CCV students, welcome back. Hey, whether you're joining us online tonight or you're live in the room, we are so excited to jump into week 4 of our series, Drifting. But before we get into that series, we need to do some celebrating. The first group I want to celebrate, I want to welcome. Can we get a huge CCV students welcome to all of our rookies, our freshmen in the room tonight? As we welcome our freshmen, we also are saying goodbye to a very special group of students tonight. Can we give it up, a loud roar, for our 2020 graduates as they are here for their last high school service? Hey, I know we are all pumped to regather, but as a church, we want to make sure that we do it safe and we do it responsibly. So here's what we're going to ask of you. Number 1, as you can see, we are spread out. When we are on campus walking, when we are in this room, when we are in group time, we ask that we spread out. Number 2, most likely you're wearing a mask right now. We ask that you wear a mask when you're walking on campus, when you're in service, when you're in group time. If you don't have a mask and you need one, you can get one in the lobby. And number 3, we all know that we love to rush the stage during worship. And that's one of our favorite things about this high school ministry. But during this time, we're gonna ask you to worship right where you're at. I know a lot's changed in the last 5 months of our lives. But right now, whether you're online or you're in the room, I wanna invite you to stand as we worship the one thing that will never change, ever, in our lives, our God.
Yeah, shooters, get those hands up and clap it. Hey. We say, oh, oh, oh. Listen. There were walls between us. By the cross you came and broke them down. You broke them down. There were chains around us, but by your grace we are no longer bound. No longer bound. You call me out of the grave. You call me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Come on! Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Oh, oh, oh. Let's sing it loud. Feel the darkness shaking. All the dead are coming back to life. Back to life. Hear the song awaken. All creation singing, we're alive. 'Cause you're alive. You call me out of the grave. You call me into the light. You call my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Let's go. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. Come on. We shout it out. We're alive 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive 'cause you're alive. Your love is greater. Oh, it's stronger. Your love awakens. Woo! Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Oh, 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 awaken, awaken me, yeah. How many of y'all believe God is up to something good right here, right now, tonight? Let's sing it out then, when I'm in. The roughest waters, I won't go under, I won't drown. When I'm in, over my head, I know that you won't let me down. 'Cause when I'm broken, yeah, oh, and down to nothing, you know what to do, come on, say, I know that love surrounds me. I won't fear when I'm broken, 'cause when I'm broken, going down to nothing, say I know that you are always up to something good. Yes, I know that you are always up to something good. You make a way, you make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing you love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. Oh, you're up to something. 'Cause through the darkest night, you are on my side. You are always faithful. Through my fear and doubt, you will lead me out. You are always able. Through the darkest night, you are on my side. You are always faithful. Through my fear and doubt, you will lead me out. Yes, I know you are always able. Yes, I know, say I know that always up to something good. Yes, I know that you are always up to something good. 'Cause you make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing you love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. One more time, you make. Oh, 'cause you make a way, whatever it takes. There's nothing you love won't endure. I know that you are always up to something good. You're up to something. Hey. Would you pray with me, students? God, we know right here, right now, you're up to something good. God, we know it may be hard to see that truth given the past 5 months. It's been hard to see what you're up to with the storm at our feet. It's been hard to see what life looks like when there's more of you. So God, right here, right now, we choose to see heaven around us. 'Cause there is heaven to be found right here. If we are still enough to see, God, make us still enough to see all the heaven. Make us still enough to see. Beyond the depths of the horizon, beyond the shores of foreign seas, beyond the stars we haven't found yet, beyond the secrets of the deep, there is more. There is more than what I see. Yes, there is more than earthly dreams. Yes, there is heaven to be found right here. If I'm still enough to see, Yeah, students, thank you so much for singing with us tonight. You may be seated.
Well, hey, what's up? It is so good to have some CCV students in the house tonight on every campus. And I know there's a bunch of you joining online right now. Everybody needs to know we are streaming Sunday nights live on YouTube. So students, listen, there's no excuse. Whether you are on a campus or you're online, you should not miss 1 week of the high school experience. For everybody that is on a campus, though, tonight, I just got to say, you guys look good. You know, you're all masked up. In fact, why don't you just turn to the people around you right now and say, you know what? You make masks look good. I was talking to some high school girls a while back, and I was asking them, like, hey, can you still tell whether or not, like, a dude is cute when he's wearing a mask? And they were like, oh, yeah, totally. You know how? It's all about the eyes, fellas. All about the eyes, right? So if Jesus didn't bless you with, like, baby blue eyes, you should probably, like, trim your eyebrows or something. That might help your game out. I don't know. But as long as we have to wear masks, you just do that. Hey, I'm just wondering, does anybody have consistent chores you have to do on a regular basis? Okay, nobody in the room. All right. Well, I guess we're all just super lazy around here. Growing up, this was one of my chores that I had to do. My dad did carpentry on the side, most of which was done in our own house. So as you could probably assume, there's sawdust everywhere all the time. And because I wasn't big enough to operate the saw, and I wasn't proficient enough with the hammer to keep up with how fast my dad wanted me to go, he would just hand me the broom. And listen, though I can sweep for a little bit, eventually I begin to despise sweeping. The broom became a burden. What do I mean the broom becoming a burden? Well, I mean it was something that I had to do. It was not something that I wanted to do. You guys got any brooms in your life? Things that you have to do, things you don't really want to do? Well, I think that it goes beyond just being in a place of, well, physically I have things at home that I don't really want to do. I think there is a spiritual dynamic when it comes to the broom. Things that Jesus calls you to do, not necessarily things that you want to do. And I believe that God wants to shift our perspective about a specific broom that Jesus has called us to. And the Apostle Paul spoke about this in his letter to the Galatians in chapter 5. And in this text that I'm going to read, I just want you to be on the lookout here. See if you can find the broom. All right, it reads like this. It is absolutely clear God has called you to a free life. Just make sure that you don't use this freedom as an excuse to do whatever you want to do and destroy your freedom. Rather, use your freedom to serve one another in love. That's how freedom grows. For everything we know about God's word is summed up in a single sentence. Love others as you love yourself. That's an act of true freedom. Did you catch the broom? Let's light it up on the screen. Serve one another in love. Do you know what nobody seems to naturally drift towards in life? Serving one another in love. Do you know what we tend to drift towards instead? He says earlier, doing whatever we want, serving ourselves. But Paul warns us in all of Galatians, he's talking about freedom. It's this big theme of the entire letter. And he says, Jesus followers, don't take God's gift to you of freedom and use it for your own purposes. Don't take the grace of Jesus Christ as permission to just do whatever you want, to just serve yourself. That's totally abusing God's purpose for your life. Students, what's God's purpose for your life? Do you know it? I love the way that Mark Moore phrases this. He says it all the time in almost every sermon. Check me on this. He'll say these 3 words: make Jesus famous. That's your purpose. Our purpose is not to serve ourselves. Our purpose is not to lift ourselves high. Our purpose is to lift Jesus high, to make him famous in all of the world. How do we make Jesus famous? That's what Paul is addressing in the verse that I just read for you. Let's throw it back on the screen, just one little verse. Use your freedom to serve one another in love. The broom. That's how freedom grows. That's how Jesus becomes more and more famous. You have to pick up the broom. But does anybody else like me struggle with that right there? Just a few weeks ago, I was on my way home from work. Long day. There's been a lot of long days trying to figure out how to do ministry in the midst of the context that we're all in right now. And as I'm driving home, I'm just thinking to myself, all I want to do right now is just relax. I'm tired. But my home is a little rowdy. I got 3 young kids, and when I get home, it can get a little bit chaotic from time to time. And when I walk through the front door, like, this was one of those days where the house was just a little extra chaotic. I can feel the pressure, like the barometric pressure in my house is like right at the boiling point, right? And I want to relax so bad, but the kids are so loud. My wife is busy right in the middle of dinner, I can tell. And then there's my 2-year-old little boy. He has somehow broken into the pantry, which we usually lock to keep him out of. Specifically, we've learned our lesson. He has broken in somehow. He has hijacked the pancake mix. He has torn the box open, and he has shaken it out everywhere. And then he's plopped down in the middle of it, and he's like a little boy in a sandbox. He's just chucking it around. And I'm like, son, I love you, but I want to squeeze you right now. In this moment, I have a choice to make. On one hand, I can serve. I can serve my wife. I can serve my kids. I can bring the pressure down. It can be a nice, relaxing evening if I choose to serve. Or I can serve myself. What do you think I did? I wouldn't be telling you this story if it was like a hero story, right? Like, I'd like to tell you that I came in and I rescued my wife from the crazy evening, but I'm actually embarrassed to tell you guys that in that moment, I barely gave my wife a head nod. I went and sat my stuff in my room, came back into the living room. And I just chilled out, put my feet up on the couch. What had I done in this moment? I let go of my purpose. I chose to use my freedom to serve me. I forgot what I was called to do. And I'm not just talking like some random stranger here. This is my wife, my bride. We've been married 12 years. She's beautiful. She's my best friend. She needed me in this moment. But I set down the broom and I sat on the couch. And I'd like to say that it was a one-time thing, that I don't do this very often, but you guys, if I'm really honest with you, I do this more often than I'd care to admit. I choose to serve myself. I bet you'd admit to some of that in your life. Maybe you're a little better than me. And what God was impressing on me in this moment was just like this feeling of Jared, get off the couch, pick up the broom, and serve. And I believe that's the same message the Holy Spirit is speaking to students everywhere right now. Get off the couch, pick up the broom, and serve. You know, if we were to have a conversation, if I were to sit down in your small group tonight and we were to share about what life has been like the last several months, and we were to get into the topic of serving, and you were to share what it's been like for you, my guess is that most of us are going to share honest stories of how we haven't done much sweeping, laundry, serving lately. And I think that's kind of natural. Like, I think that's kind of the way the world works, especially under pressure, especially in the midst of crisis. What does the world do? It turns inward. The world's mentality is more like every woman, every man for themselves. But listen, that has never been a Jesus follower mentality. Never been. In fact, Jesus said this about what he came to do in the world. This is Mark 10:28. He said, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve." And what? Give his life as ransom for many. What did Jesus do? He picked up the broom. What did he do in reality? He picked up the cross. And students, Jesus did not give his life on the cross so that future followers of Jesus could sit comfortably on the couch. It's completely abusing our purpose. Jesus gave his life so that we would have purpose. What's our purpose? We make Jesus famous. How do we make Jesus famous? We pick up the broom. We serve one another in love. CCV students, there's no such thing as a Jesus follower who stays on the couch. There's no such thing as a Christ-centered difference maker who will not pick up the broom. No such thing. So what do? Well, we serve at home. We serve our friends. We serve online. We serve. Whenever a need arises, Jesus followers everywhere should rise to meet the need. Why? Because it's not about us. It's not about lifting up Jared's kingdom. It's about Jesus. And CCV students, I'm just concerned right now. I'm concerned what the world sees when they look at Jesus followers right now. If what the world sees amongst the church and Jesus followers during the midst of the COVID crisis is a whole bunch of Christians refusing to pick up the broom and committed to the couch, then what message are they getting about us? How do they view Jesus? If we don't pick up the broom, Jesus followers, I'm convinced we will have missed perhaps the greatest opportunity of our lifetime to make Jesus famous. So what do? We pick up the broom. And I know I talked about it earlier, how the broom for me was a burden. But you know what I've found? I found that the more that I pick up the broom, the more that I serve one another in love, the less the broom feels like a burden. The more I pick up the broom, the more the broom becomes a blessing. And that's what God wants to do in your life. He doesn't want to give you a burden to carry. He wants to give you a blessing so that you can thrive and make Jesus famous. So, My question for you really is, what is God calling you to do with that? All I can do is try to put together some words and show you the instructions of the Apostle Paul, but you have to listen to what God is telling you. How is God calling you to serve? How's your attitude with serving been lately? I went first. I've been struggling. I'm working on that. How about you? Let me give you 3 suggestions. If you're someone and you're thinking to yourself like, okay, I get it. Where do I start? 3 simple suggestions. Number 1, serve within your own 4 walls, like your own home. And I'm convinced that if we are not willing to serve at home, we won't serve outside of the home. And I've been thinking, high school students, about this season that we're all entering into right now with online school. And you know what? I'm not really that concerned about you guys figuring out online school right now. I know that there are going to be some struggles and stuff. I get it. But what about your little brothers and sisters? What about your nieces and nephews? And what about those kids down the street? Mom and dad both work, and they got to figure it out. Or maybe mom and dad are trying to balance it and figure it out. And what could you do very easily? You can sit on the couch and you can get it done because you get this world, like way better than I get this world. But listen, they don't. And what an opportunity you have to serve and make Jesus famous and impact the next generation. But listen, you got a tough decision to make because the couch is comfortable. Serious. It's way easier just to take care of you. But what difference could you make if you pick up the broom? It starts in your own home. But it goes beyond that. The second suggestion that I have is about serving at CCV. And I was thinking about you guys earlier, and I was thinking about as we regather as a church, there's thousands of people that volunteer and serve at CCV on a regular basis. But because of COVID, there are hundreds of our volunteers who are not physically able to come and serve. What does that do? That creates gaps everywhere. So what do I think about? I think about our high school students. I think about our high school students who are perhaps the least vulnerable population in our church. And what if CCV students led the way in serving? Have you ever signed up to serve at CCV? Have you ever tried it? Maybe you're somebody who, like I was in high school, you were super busy. You are super committed. You have no space in your life. You couldn't sign up for something like this. But what is going on in your life right now? What do you have? You have more space and more opportunity than perhaps maybe you've had in a long time. And I'm sure there's exceptions to that. Are you going to pick up the broom? Or are you going to stay on the couch? This is your church. It's not your mom and dad's church. It's our church. And what a blessing it could be to serve. You know that feeling that you get when you serve someone? I mean, like really serve someone. Like it is selfless serving here. That feeling that wells up inside. It's like this deep sense of satisfaction. I believe that is you being connected to your God-given purpose of serving. You want church to become a vital part of your life? Serve in the church. You want this place to really count? Serve in the church. You want to feel really connected around here? Serve in the church. And I'm so proud of so many of you, CCV students, because literally, we couldn't do it without you guys. And you guys, you lift my spirits all the time when I see you serve, but I know there's so many more who have yet to pick up the broom. Third and final suggestion for serving. For our online audience right now, I just want to tell you, this isn't going to apply to you because you would need to be on one of our physical campuses, okay? So you get a pass on this one. But everybody on the campus, you're going to have an opportunity to serve tonight. A few weeks ago, there was a staff member who let us know in the student ministry about a local mission partner. And they specialize in helping feed the homeless, specifically kids and students. You know, families are the largest population amongst the homeless in our city. And this organization puts brown bag meals together, and they feed families physically. But beyond just meeting physical needs, They're about meeting the spiritual needs. So what do? They get volunteers to write encouraging messages on every brown bag. So tonight, on all of our campuses, we've given every group an opportunity to write messages on brown bags. We're going to serve one person at a time. We're going to make it real. We're going to make it tangible tonight. And as I wrap up, I just want to show you a video from that organization. But CCV students, listen. Get off the couch. Pick up the broom. Tap in to your purpose. Let's serve one another in love. Check out this video.
Students, thanks again for joining us today, and I hope that something from this experience challenged you or really impacted you in some way. I'd love it if you'd leave a comment. Let us know what that was, like what really spoke to you today. If you want to stay up on everything that's going on around here and never miss an update, follow us on Instagram. It's one of the quickest ways to get information about what's going on. And again, if you're not connected with a group already, we believe there is no greater place to really experience life change and to just be challenged and encouraged than in a group. So text the word students to 72020 and we'll get you connected really quickly. Students, we'll be here again on Sunday night at 5 o'clock, so make sure you tune in. And if you have the opportunity, we'd love to see you live on any one of our campuses across the valley. If you've never been before, you're not sure where that is, you can find all the locations and the one that's closest to you at our website at ccv.church. Students, thanks again for joining us, and we can't wait to see you again next week.